Nations in Victoria 3 are not made equal. This is a time of gigantic empires pushing their influence and power wherever they like, and those without struggling to keep their autonomy and independence. This is reflected in the game with country ranks, a list of world's nations ranked by prestige, military power, economic strength, and monuments. In this video, I will teach you how they work and why you should care in under 10 minutes. Let's get going. Country ranks matter. It's not just for show or to give you some extra dopamine for shiny numbers. Going up in ranks has a lot of benefits and a few downsides. Let's go over those to start. Influence is the metric which decides how much capacity your nation has to make treaties, utilize its diplomatic corps, and reduce empathy. It's not the most important metric in the game by any means, but it does have a lot of important uses. The amount you get goes up precipitously with each rank, with great powers getting 1,000, double that of an insignificant power. Since influence speeds up a loss of infamy, it also helps great powers be able to make more hostile plays quicker without getting cut down to size. Diplomatic maneuvers are how many points you have at the start of a conflict to pick war goals. More maneuvers means you can demand more, and gives you the ability to take vast swaths of territory or other concessions. The difference is huge here, as yet again, great powers have double that of the bottom rank, and are able to do way more in conflicts. Declared interests allow you to state your interest in an area, meaning you can do hostile actions there, make trade routes with the nations in it, and be involved in any plays that happen. The main way to get these is through naval power, which I will cover in my naval guide, but ranks also give you a few. This is only super important if you don't have a significant navy, but if you are landlocked or don't have the expense, they help a lot. If you play this game like a good little capitalist, you will doubtless be running a deficit often and accruing massive amounts of debt. In any modern system, debt is beneficial for reasons I won't go into, as you didn't come here for an economics lecture. Country ranks heavily dictate the interest rates you pay on your debt, aka the percent of the total debt amount you accrue in addition as interest. If you have 10 million in debt at a 10% interest rate annually, in 1 year's time you'll have 11 million in debt. This is obviously bad. The low ranks give an increase to interest rates, and higher ranked countries get a large decrease. This is an attempt by Paradox to represent the fact bigger, larger, more advanced nations have better monetary policies and banking systems. The full features of which will only cost you $39.99 for the banking DLC, coming to a Steam storefront near you in 1 to 4 years' time. The higher the rank, the more infamy you do get. This is the first of the major downsides. Infamy is present really doesn't matter and needs to be overhauled. That being said, if it gets super high, 100 plus, you become a pariah and all the majors will declare on you, so be careful. Diplomatic pacts are huge in Victoria 3. They allow you to make alliances, form economic unions, and make trade deals. The higher ranks get an increase to the influence costs, though they do get more influence anyway, so it kind of balances. The low ranks get a decrease in cost. So keep this in mind if you're wondering why the cost is way more the stronger you get. As you can see here, ranks actually do matter quite a lot. Now let's go into how you can increase yours. The first way you can gain a small bit of prestige is your nation's tier. These are not changeable and will be set the whole game unless you form new countries. For example, Prussia starts as a kingdom but becomes an empire when you form Germany, meaning it went from 15 as a kingdom to 25 as an empire. This amount is really low and is only important early game for smaller powers. Your military power projection adds a lot to your rank. 0.2 power projection equals 1 prestige. So if you have a lot of it, you will be propelled up the ranks quickly. This is based on size, but also on tech. For example, a naval flotilla using men of wars will give way less power projection than one using battleships, which makes sense. You can see the amount produced by going to the military building and looking at what it outputs. It gives you the projection amount easily to be able to see. This is another reason having a strong military, and in particular a good navy, as ignored, will put you well behind. GDP also gives you some, though it's not that much. Every 1 million in GDP equals only 3 prestige. Having subjects gives you prestige indirectly. The amount gained is equal to half their military power projection and economy, which is incredibly powerful if they are strong. Leading the world in a certain type of good production gives some prestige, though they are not made equal. Being a leading art producer, for example, gives more prestige for being number 1 than for iron. Expeditions such as the ones you get later on to find the source of the Nile, monuments, and special buildings like skyscrapers and canals, including the Suez, give large amounts of prestige as well. For all of these, it is really the military power projection that is the most impactful, so keep that in mind. I do want to also bring up the recognition system. In Victoria 3, some nations are considered unrecognized due to not being a formal power. These are of course non-European powers almost entirely, and that status drastically reduces their rank. For example, the Qing start unrecognized, meaning they're not at the top of the ranks, which they really should be. To get recognized, you will have to start a diplomatic play and fight a great power to be granted formal status. This system is poorly constructed sadly, and needs work, which will come to a Steam store near you in 2 to 4 years time at the Recognition Flavor Pack for the low cost of $5.99. This ends this video on what ranks are and why you should care. They are much more impactful than you might think, and should be always considered when building and growing your nation. Military power is supreme here, so always expand your capacities if you want to move further up the ranks. I have a whole series on Victoria 3 that will cover all aspects of the game for you to learn, in bite-sized chunks so you don't have to listen to a 4-hour lecture. So check out the link here if you want to get into that and are interested. I'm Hammurabae, and I will catch you soon.